It's my pleasure. I'm Anthea Stratigos, and I co-founder of Outsell, and I'm here today to talk about stepping down and stepping into the year of the fire horse. And I couldn't be more pleased to have a conversation with Karen Abramson. Karen and I have known each other, going on 20
a long time.
years, maybe too many years to admit. Karen is an amazing, accomplished CEO extraordinary. The things that we've talked about and the things that she's done, I'm going to just say amazing, and an inspiration to so many of us. Karen has been at Wolters Kluwer for 25 years. Most recently, decided to leave, and that's the stepping down part of stepping into the year of the fire horse. But she's had an amazing 25-year track record running 4 different divisions along that sequence of time. One of them, she took from $1 billion to $2 billion in a 10-year time frame. She's been the CEO of all 4 of these businesses, and that one was the growth engine in Wolters Kluwer for many years. Not an easy feat. Global, highly fragmented, a lot of M&A, divestitures, running a large team, and making the numbers. We always have to make the numbers. So I just love her, and I love her story. So we talked about the year of the fire horse. Before I turn things over to Karen and ask her a couple questions, what is the year of the fire horse? Well, it occurs once every 60 years. The last time it was 1966, which might give you a clue of the themes and things that goes on in that period of time. It is associated with the combination of the powerful, fast-moving, action-oriented horse and the rapid change, passion, dramatic, unpredictable events of fire. And we are in the year of the fire horse. And you think about it, things that occur are usually intensely energetic. They are of historical significance. And the themes of 26 is regarded bold action and innovation, but we can experience burnout, volatility, and political instability. Does this sound like the Q1 to you? I don't know about you, but we are in the year of the fire horse. What do you think, Karen?
I think we are.
All right, so Karen, you've come off a remarkable career, and you've made a decision to take a break, my words, reset. Talk to us a little bit about just where you are, what you're thinking right now, what you're doing.
Well, thank you for having me. I will be forever grateful for the amazing opportunities that were afforded to me while I was at Wolters Kluwer. I don't know how much all of you know about the business, but it's a really great business that has done an amazing transformation from really pure publishing to becoming a digital content and software business. And I've had the opportunity to run both digital content businesses there and the software businesses. And it's a women-led organization, so 60% of our executive team was female at the time I was there. So it was a very supportive, really great organization. And about 2 years ago, after I grew tax and accounting, as Anthea mentioned, about 2 years ago, they asked me to take on a new portfolio, start a new division for the organization, which was going to be the bigger growth engine. Tax, we took it from 1 to 10% organic growth, and this business they wanted it to be in the 10 to 12% range. So that was an incredible opportunity. I was very excited about it, and it didn't quite fulfill, I think, my expectations. It was going to require a lot of turnaround type activity that wasn't really what I had set out to what I thought I was setting out to look at. But nonetheless, I'm a turnaround girl, so I've done it a couple times, and I said, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to do this. And it is the fastest growing division of Wolters Kluwer. It's an entirely European portfolio. I was traveling 3, sometimes 4 weeks a month back and forth to Europe. I was becoming very burnt out. There was a stress level of, hey, you've got to be the highest growing division. There was the stress of being on a plane every 4 days. There was the stress of 2 turnarounds in the business at the same time. Truthfully, it was the first time in my life I couldn't handle the stress. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I had kind of just hit this wall. And I noticed I was also absent from my life, right? I would have conversations with my daughter. She would leave the room and my husband would say, do you know what you just agreed to? No idea. So I decided I needed to figure out how I was going to manage this better, and that the way to do that would be to step back. So I originally set out to do nothing for 8 months. I had said I'm going on a career sabbatical. I'd been reading about career sabbaticals, right? They sounded great. I was like, I need this, I'm going to do that. And I was only out of the business probably for like 5 days when somebody called me and said, hey, I have a project, and I could really use your expertise on this. And I said, oh, no, no. And he said, well, it doesn't have to be a lot of time. So that started the idea of, okay, I'm going to form an LLC, I'm going to form a consulting company, and I'm going to do a little bit of consulting. So I've been officially gone from Wolters Kluwer for about a month, and I have 3 clients. So it's a bit of a happenstance, and right now I'm enjoying it because I'm taking on what I like to do when I like to do it. But that's my story so far.
I love it. The freedom's liberating in a different way. Yeah.
It's unbelievable, actually. I was able to do things. This is silly stuff. All of you probably do this every day, but with my life, the way that it's been, 18-hour days and back and forth on planes, I took the same golf lesson for 10 years. I would go every Saturday morning. We would do the same thing. He would say, well, you need to practice during the week. I would say, yeah, well, I can't practice when I'm in United 3C. And then I'd go back. And so now I've actually had 2 golf lessons that were different for the first time in 10 years. I've made dinner. My husband's like, what? You make dinner? You know how to cook? Turns out I do know how to cook. I didn't know I did. I go to Pilates now regularly, not like once every 6 months when I have time to show up. So it's exciting.
I love it. Good. I want to say, as you think of the 25 years, what's your one piece of advice you have for the women in the revenue room?
Don't stay with something that's making you unhappy. I think that burnout is a really awful experience. And I think I knew that it was happening, and I didn't react to it fast enough. I think if you know that you're really not happy doing something, don't be afraid, because what's shocking is how many different opportunities open when you say, okay, I can't do this anymore, I'm not happy doing this. And when you become happy, you'll be amazed at all the different things that can start to come your way. So I would just say, life is too short.
I love it.
Don't stay unhappy with anything.
I love it. I love it. We're going to switch gears a little bit. When we met last week, we were talking about how we've witnessed CD-ROM to web in 10 years, and then on-prem to SaaS. Well, no, that took 20 years, I think you said. On-prem to SaaS took 10. But we're going to move to AI-powered solutions and intelligent services in 1.5, 2. How do you navigate that change? You spent a lot of time in AI and in software. What's your advice to those in the room who are in the middle of it?
So this is my passion, right? I love these kinds of transformations. It's really what I did every part of my career. And I think about this. I think about this sort of in a number of different buckets. But the most important one is recognize that AI is the latest technological innovation. And there will be others, right? Quantum is coming. There are different things down the road. CD was one back in the day. We thought it was amazing. We could take a book and put it on a CD, right? Then we went to the web, and that was pretty cool. We could sell things there. Now we have AI. It's a tool. It's a very powerful tool. And it's going to change, it should change, how we do everything in our businesses. That's a cultural phenomenon. And I think it's really important that when you're thinking about how you're going to make the transition, that you're also thinking about the culture of the company. Someone on the last panel said this, and I can't emphasize it enough. When you start to change for AI, you will touch every single part of your business. So in the role of leader, whether you're the leader as the CEO or whether you're the leader of a large division of the company, it's really important that you keep that in mind and that you set a tone for the organization. You have to know what you want to do. So we thought about product, like what do we want to do with AI in our products? And we thought about it in terms of what are the products we need to defend? What are the products we have a new opportunity here? We're a little behind a couple of competitors in a few areas, but AI can help us leapfrog. So there's the defend bucket, there's the leapfrog bucket, and then there's the products that we didn't think were really going to grow again. A lot of these were content products, honestly. Now they can grow. They have a whole different life. So how did they grow? So defend, leapfrog, and grow. And that's on the revenue side. And then on the back house, the back part of the house, you have to think about, what does AI allow me to do more efficiently? We just heard a lot about sales operations, revenue operations. It's going to really transform your development teams, right? We don't develop the way we used to develop for SaaS when we're developing AI. It's totally different. Agile goes out the window, right? You used to have a Scrum team of 8, 10 people. Now you had a Scrum team maybe of 2. And you're sitting down, with the developer and the product manager. They're building this product together. Sometimes you can prototype in front of the customer. So it's a very different kind of dynamic in development. And that's going to change your customer support operations. It's going to change your management team structure. So you really need to think about that, because when you present it and when you talk about how you communicate those changes, you want to talk about the fact that these are great tools for everybody. They're going to give us better products. They're going to give us more market opportunities. They're going to make us better salespeople. They're going to give us tools to be better customer support personnel. And most importantly, they're going to give us time, so that we can do more with what we have. We can get to market faster. We can service customers better. We can offer better products. If you take that approach with the team, they're not going to be afraid. Fear is probably the biggest obstacle here, because every time you open a newspaper or a trade show, it's when are all the jobs going to go away? And that's what you have to really work to, as a leader, you have to work to deal with that in your organization, because you're getting great efficiencies here, but jobs aren't going away. People are going to be able to do more. Now, down the road, does that mean we're going to create fewer jobs? It may. But we're also creating entirely new, different jobs. So I would just deal with the fear factor and the cultural factor and think about the whole organization.
How did you do that in a large organization? It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. I launched the first AI, I think you know this, I launched the first AI platform for Wolters Kluwer in our financial close and consolidation business, which was a business I had acquired in 2017. We launched that product very early in May of 2024. And that was before we were very excited, because we at Wolters Kluwer had beat Oracle and SAP to the market with this kind of a tool, and it was phenomenal, right? You could talk to the screen, and the screen would give you all your financial reporting, whatever you wanted to see, comparisons across countries and plants, and whatever you were looking at. It was the promise of that. When we brought the company together, I'm a big believer in come together. I'm going to tell you where we have to go. And when we brought everybody together in that business unit, I said, we can do this, and we showed them what was possible. And everybody said, my God, if they saw the promise of that. If we could do that for customers, oh my God, we would be so far ahead. And so people get excited when they understand that. But you have to tell them, it's going to change. You have to use new development tools. We're going to break the way we're going to do a few things. We don't know if this is going to work. We have to price this thing differently, and we're going out to market. We don't know exactly what the pricing is going to be, and we're going to go out with a couple of different models, and we're going to try them out. Because you have to become comfortable with the discomfort of there's just ambiguity here. You might have 50% of the data you would normally want to have to go forward. You just have to kind of, you're moving so fast, you have to take that leap. But I really believe that if you show people the promise and they understand the why, all of the other pieces start to fall in place.
Great. Any other thoughts about kind of AI, what you're seeing with the big players?
Yeah, it's every week there's
some news.
Every week there's something new. I would say if you're running a business right now, there are 3 things that I would advise that you really pay very specific attention to. One of them is data security. Microsoft just did a big AI survey, and it probably read this statistic, but 71% of your employees are using some Gen AI tool inside your organization that is not authorized. And so you're at risk of them taking some of your proprietary content and putting it into that Gen AI tool. Yeah. When they do that, you have lost your proprietary data. It's become public domain in the LLM. And so if you are a data company with information, you have to be dealing with that really seriously on two fronts. One, you should be installing technology that prevents data exfiltration that way. That's very important. But the other is that you have to be training your employees that this is something that they have to pay attention to. So data protection is the first thing. Second thing is this issue around development changes. Some of you are going to be all the way on the end of the spectrum where it's very easy for you to build this way. Some of you are still doing waterfall, right? And everybody's somewhere in the middle. And so you have to recognize that now you're going to leapfrog a lot of things. And all that you've been teaching around safe and agile is going to fall by the wayside because we don't do that anymore with AI. This is going back to the garage. The AI developer sits next to the content owner or the product manager, and you're developing something fast. And then you're going to pop it through some tests and send it out. We are actually, or at Wolters Kluwer, we were actually sitting with customers and doing development on the fly. So this is very different. That's a huge change for your development organizations. They're going to get much more efficient because you're going to give them tools like GitHub. You'll get big gains. But you have to be very careful about who's going to be ready to make that leap. Which developer can you send to sit with a customer? Like, these are the kinds of cultural things that you really think about. And then the third thing I would say is pricing. Your costs in the cloud are going to exponentially increase when you introduce AI tools to your SaaS products or to your content products. They're also going to exponentially increase internally when you start to use those tools inside your organization. So traditional subscription models that we use for pricing, they're not going to work here. And you have to think about, what does that mean? Is it a hybrid model, a subscription plus a transaction? Is it a transactional model? If you're in the B2B business, you probably know, businesses freak when they hear a transactional model. It's the last thing in the world they want. They're in the same boat, though, if they're using any of the hyperscalers. The hyperscalers are the ones who win here. They're all getting paid for every one of those cloud transactions. So this is what still has to be sort of thought through. And I don't think anybody has the answer to this yet. I think everyone is experimenting with different things that enable companies to feel comfortable with the model going forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, one last thought. We've got a minute and 30 seconds. I'm going to take 30 of those seconds to take us on our way. So give us a minute of what's next for Karen. What are you thinking about?
So, well, after I bought 20 businesses, divested 2, transformed businesses with technology, did a lot of business challenges in my last career. I learned a lot from that, and my plan now is to bring all of that experience to smaller businesses that have all those same challenges but don't have the resources to think like that.
Wonderful, wonderful. We wish you the best,
Thank
absolute
you.
best. Karen will be with us for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
the rest of the. So please, take time to meet her, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was really fun to see this.
I know, really fun. All right, so we're going to continue on our journey of Revved Up. And there are 3 Ignition intensives coming up between 10 and 12. They are don't miss. Sign up for one of the 3. They're really great sessions. And then we're going to have lunch from 12 to 12:45 in the Palm Court Ballroom. And then we'll proceed with opening remarks and our keynote with Jessica Sibley, which you'll also not want to miss. So we'll see you. Have a great morning. Be sure to take your gift and have a great day. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much.